Some of my relatives are convinced I'm lonely living in remote Alaska. They often ask me, how do you do it with nobody around? Some of my friends are convinced I'm lonely living in rural Alaska. They often ask me, what do you do when there's nothing there and so few people? Even my ex-in-laws from over 20 years ago are convinced I'm lonely living in remote Alaska. They often ask me, when are you moving back to civilization so that you're not alone anymore? Despite living in a community with only 180 residents, whether you're lonely or not depends entirely on you. When I'm comfortable at home watching a movie or a game, or I'm spending the afternoon making brownies, I don't want to be bothered by anyone and have them talking while my movie is playing. I certainly don't want anyone eating the brownies. I made the brownies. They're my brownies. Go home and make your own brownies. And I'm pretty sure when you're at home relaxing and comfortable sitting down watching your favorite TV series or eating dinner, you don't want to be bothered either. It doesn't matter if you live in a town with 180 people or in a city with 8 million people. Nobody wants to hear the doorbell ring or a knock on their door when they're comfortably numb, resting at home. And if I happen to be bored or lonely one day or evening, I only have to drive a couple of minutes to get to the restaurant or cafe where there are typically one or two people sitting around, and if no customers are there, the waitresses or owners are always happy to have a conversation. And every small community has a community center where they have bingo nights and reading nights and game nights and movie nights and sometimes just get-togethers. Or you just call someone you know and meet them where you want to meet. It's not very complicated, and it's not always easy being left alone in such a lonely place. On the other hand, when I head to town, I don't have to fight through traffic and take 45 minutes to get 10 minutes down the road. And if I'm driving over 2 hours to Fairbanks, there are so few cars on the road, even during the summertime, that you can probably catch 2 or 3 short naps without getting into an accident. If you want to stop at one of the many viewpoints or pull-offs or rest stations that you pass every 5 or 10 minutes, you don't have to fight through crowds to look over the valley. Your favorite spot is always unoccupied and waiting just for you. And at the grocery store, when one person is in front of you in line, that's a long line in rural Alaska. And finally, if you get to the post office and you hold the door for someone, that happens so seldom due to a lack of crowds, it's actually exciting. The key to happiness in remote Alaska is keeping yourself busy, especially in the wintertime. Whether that's hiking or doing other outdoor activities, editing YouTube videos or having other hobbies to keep you busy at home, or just driving around inside or outside of town and stopping in one of your many favorite spots just to sit and enjoy nature the way it was made to be enjoyed, in peace. So the next time you're worried that some guy or some girl is bored and lonely in remote Alaska, remember that you can't get bored in remote Alaska unless you're a boring person, without any imagination or creativity to keep yourself busy. And you can't get lonely in remote Alaska unless you choose to keep yourself isolated. It's all up to each individual and how lonely and boring their life is, regardless if one lives in New York City or one lives in a tiny community in rural Alaska.